All right, so we'll start with Isaiah. Isaiah, I sent you a note that said, excellent. We'll talk about this on Friday. And everyone, I think this is really great. I think that this just works out perfectly. It's just really good. So there's a couple of things that you might want to do to adjust this. So let's just pick any particular frame. This one's a good one. Remember that what I keep telling everyone is to consider what's going on with the very end, the tail end of the pixie dust. Because I think that what's happening is that you've got the same distance, the same 2.5 inches or whatever it is going on. So you've got this like effect that's kind of looking like a ribbon. Hold on, Harmony is overriding my screen. And so I think the way to vary that, and let me just kind of, well, I'm going to use green. I think the way to vary this, or to make this just a little more interesting, is to take the tail end and follow your arc, and then just put a, and so what this is the brush, right, Isaiah? This is your charcoal brush, or your whatever brush you were using, and just kind of get some little bits of the cloud in your brush at the end of it, and make it random. So look at this one and look at the next frame. So I think that what is also kind of needs a little repair is that, like, this is frame whatever, it doesn't tell me what frame. If we're at 5 seconds, that means we're like frame 70, somewhere between 72 and 85. That the very next frame, these little bits of cloud would have to fall. So get in there with your brush and just make these tail end bits extra, put a little air between them, a little space, and get them to fall a little bit. Because I think that everything's working really well. Let me just come back out of this. I'm going to go backwards frame by frame, and you should be able to see this in real time. Because just look at the length of your ribbon itself. I think it stays the same. So you've got to make that either, you don't want it to make it go in and out, because that would pulse. But I think that you want it to dissipate. You want it to disappear at the very end of it. So just add little bits. Now, hopefully, tell me you were in Toon Boom, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's fine that you use the green for the cloud. I don't mind. But I think that the orb then needs a different color. So hopefully that's either on a different layer, or both on a different layer and a different color. So that's just that's a really easy fix. Actually, both of these are really easy fixes. So there is another thing that you can do to make this just completely awesome. And that is that maybe make another layer of the cloud itself, because I think that you want to get areas of the cloud that are right here to just be a little bit less more transparent. Because it's not this, again, this is a quick fix. It's not everywhere, but you want it to just make sure that it doesn't look like a piece of cloth flying through the sky. And so if this is green, then you might want to try like a hot pink for your center core of the orb. You know, even if I do this, it kind of, oh yeah, that kind of works. And you don't have to be strictly complementary colors, right? It might be fun to go in here and add just a couple, and look at the contrast. If I just put a couple of little bits of light blue here, and then I think the other thing you're missing is white. You know, pixie dust started out being white, and all you need is just a little bits of white. And that's what I would recommend here. Another thing that might be interesting for you, and this would be totally up to you, would be, and I recommended this to everyone, to use black as your background, and I think that that's fine. We're studying the look and feel. You wouldn't be able to see all these little bits of dust if it was just gray. But in this case, try making the background an 88% gray, right? And then go in here and add little bits of black pixie dust. Just jet black, just a few little bits of black dots here and there, and it might work. It's up to you. Don't just do like a test frame and see if you like it. It's up to you. Otherwise, the mechanics, the actual dust itself is working really well. Did you want to take a screenshot of this really quickly?
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. All right, got it.
Okay. All right. One thing that I would like to do here. So how does this, come on, how does this look as animation to you all? Is Zoom behaving itself today? Is it stuttering? Is it smooth?
It looks fine.
It looks okay. All right. So so I like these little bursts that you've got. I think they're working pretty well. So those are my comments right there. This is really good. Can I see some hands for Isaiah, please? Yay! So you can either do it that way or hold on a second. Put this down here. Oh yeah, I always forget when I'm doing this. Reactions are here. Oh yeah, you can do the little clapping hand. You know, it was funny. I was in my master class 2 weeks ago, and when you clap like this, I believe the clapping goes away, right? Yeah, it goes away. And you know, I'm not in my 20s anymore, so my eyes are not really the best. And I did the thing where I like did more, and I wanted to raise my hand. I wanted to, you know, because my instructor was lecturing, and instead of raising my hand, I just went to the reactions and I did this because I thought it was a hand, and he must have thought I was out of my mind because I was clapping when I wanted to actually be raising my hand. Sorry, everybody. All right, there we go. All right, yeah, Isaiah looks good. All right, let's look at Jihee's. I haven't seen this one yet. Okay, this looks great. Oh my God, there's so much pixie dust. Jihee, are you okay?
Yeah, it was a lot.
How long it took you? A solid 6 hours at least.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, this looks really good. Let me take a look here. You are, oh, I got the wrong sheet. Oh yeah, you're in animation. So you're using Toon Boom, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of, you know, this is the first time I've seen it. I'm just kind of worried about you've got a couple of colors in there. I think that you could try a little bit of variety of color. How many layers are you using?
Like 5.
Yeah, see if you can, and colors, how many swatches are you using?
I think there was about 3 or 4.
Yeah, see if you could just put a little variety in there for color, especially with the orb. Especially with the orb, but yeah, this looks really great.
Thanks.
Yeah, it looks really great. Can I see some hands for Jihee, please? Hey! Yeah, it's great. A really good example of just how long the pixie dust can fall. Yeah, so like right on this frame right here, you know, her orb is almost off the screen, and she's still dealing with dust that came from this position up here. And it's a great effect. It looks really cool, especially with all the little exploding stars and all that. It's a really good example of what it looks like when you trail those pixie dusts really, really far behind. Yeah, it looks really great. Thanks, Jihi.
Thank you.
We caught. Okay. All right, Jordan. All right, so I want Jordan. Are you there? I don't see your face. Let me
I'm
see.
right here.
You're there. Okay.
Like I was on.
So are you still using Unity?
No, I've been using Harmony the whole time.
Harmony.
Yeah, I was just the reason I mentioned Unity last class was because I used to working more procedurally. That was it.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
so
added
this
the
is
trail.
this is really great. I think it's got a very wonderful consistency to it. If I don't think that you could make this fix right here, because on day one, a couple weeks ago, when we first started talking about this, remember that we drew one orb, and we copy and pasted it just all along the guided positions on our arc, right?
Yep.
And I mentioned to everyone, it's like, it goes around the arc here, this part of the arc really fast, and then let it slow down a little bit here. And when I was drawing those little hash marks, I'll let it slow down. So what I was trying to get at on that very first day, that very first pass, was just a variation in timing. And so I think that your orb is moving very regularly. It's not changing the speed too much.
No, it's not.
But right now, it's like you've got everything locked. Now would be a really very difficult time to try to put a little variation in timing in that.
Actually, it wouldn't be too hard to do.
Well, I mean, you could try it.
Yeah.
You've got most of the points for this as it is right now. And in this kind of condition, I really don't mind just using white against black. Disney for 25 years used just white pixie dust against black, and so that's fine. You got little exploding stars in there. The only other thing that might kind of make this a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun for our eyes, is if you tried something like this. I'm going to just do it in white for you because you did it in white. All right, so I see that you've got, hey, what's wrong here? I got the wrong tool. You've got this shape, you've got this wedge, right? So just make another pass maybe where you've got some stray random pixie dusts that are a little bit away from that shape.
Gotcha.
Just a few of them. I think that even this one right here might be a little much. Let me go backwards. So I think you just need like a few of them.
Okay.
You didn't give yourself any of these guys. Remember when we were talking about our key? You've got the small and the medium and the large, but you don't have any open dots. So you might want to try that. So just those two things. Maybe a couple like Janeska did where they're trailing behind it. And I think that might just make it perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And did you want me to try to adjust the timing?
Yeah, I think that it would only take a minute.
Yeah.
Because right now you've got 95% of the work done.
Okay.
It's already there. You don't have to repair anything. But look, see what I did when I erased it?
Yeah.
So just that little bit would help it a lot. It would give the idea of just that little random quality. And remember, I said this to everyone that, even a couple that are right in front leading the pixie dust. So I'll do that again, right? So I think that gives it more of a random quality. This is one project where random works best. We're going to do a flag today. We're going to animate a flag. And I think that when we're animating a flag, there is no random. If you put random things in a flag, it's going to look weird. But yeah, this looks really good. Really good. Let's some hands for Jordan, please. Yay! Janeska.
Hello.
Oh,
Can
hello.
you? Yeah. Sorry, I'm like on the phone, but he's on hold. So
Okay. I gotta refresh the screen.
I had a hard time with this
Why?
because it's my not. I mean, it's like my first time animating something.
Okay. Well, I think that you've got the orb moving, you've got your cloud moving. I'm gonna, I can't do this. You can't draw and play at the same time in Zoom. So I think that what you've got is maybe an arc that looks something like, you know, whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, you know, it's like something like this. And I think that the timing is okay. The way the orb behaves on the arc is okay. So this is one version here, and I think that you've got lots of complications in it. And I think it's okay. I think it's fine. But I think that what you could do, because you're not so far along already, is maybe go in there and explore the idea of that the orb is going to go really fast. Remember that when the center points are really close together, they're slow, right? And so have it go like really slow around here, but then speed it up here. And so all of a sudden you've got the spacing really far apart here, really far apart. And then, I mean, in order to do this correctly, it may be easier to just redo everything rather than try to repair it. But look at the variation in slow versus fast, and then slow right here, really slow. And remember, I forget who we talked about it, we tried something where the orb was like hanging. It was hardly even moving at all. And you could try that here, and then it speeds up, and then it just zips off the screen. So you could see that there's a cluster right here that's moving slow, and another cluster here that's moving slow, and your variation in timing might help a lot.
Okay.
Because I think you've got the mechanics working of just the thing moving, except for let me. You want to take a screenshot of that really quickly?
Yeah. Let me take a screenshot. Here. Let me see.
Or you could just use your phone.
Yeah. I don't know how. I think I got it.
Okay. So the other thing is that remember that when the orb is moving, and this is the core, this is the brush that you're using, right? And the idea of using the core is that we were using some charcoal kind of thing, and that you want some little bits of the charcoal to trail behind it. And so I think that what you've got is like you've got this 1.5 inch tail on the comet. But I think that you try, and remember, we do this fast with the brush on that first pass. is to make this double, make it at least double, or maybe 3 times, or 4 times as long, and just do it really fast. You know, a little heavier right here with the brush, and then lighter and lighter and lighter. And then remember that to put some breaks, some air in the brush itself. And remember that this pass is easy. Copying and pasting the orb along the arc is just really fast. That just takes 8 minutes. Bam, you're done. And so you look at it, you evaluate it. Okay, the timing is good, good. Then you go back in and you do this brush thing, and that takes about 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, okay, you look at it, and then remember that this brush was meant to guide us animators to where we were going to put all those goddamn little pixie dusts, right? And in the olden days, this was just our rough. This cloud here was just our rough pass, and that everything was a pixie dust. But because we're in Toon Boom, we can actually use our brush. We can keep it there, and we can make the opacity 50% or 90% or whatever we feel like. Because I think you've got the right approach. So just try the little variation in timing, and to get this brush working first, get this brush pass working first, and then you'll be happy. Then you'll know that the pixie dust is just a bunch of busy work. And like I said last week, you know, that's when you put on the headphones and you crank up the music and you just do it. And the only true thing that you have to worry about at that point is to make sure that no pixie dusts are in the same place, frame to frame, and that they're falling. And then, you know, if you want to try to make them fall for 20 frames after the orb is passed, you're going to be there for a while. But
I could do this in Rough Animator, right?
yeah, certainly.
Okay.
You can get most of the effect in Rough. Are you using Rough Animator right now?
I'm using Rough, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for whatever it's worth, I was introduced to a new animation application called Wick Editor last night. Does anyone know of this?
No.
Yeah, this was new to me. It's funny that I'm in my master class for getting a teaching credential. And in my class last night, there were 2 other animators. One actually took classes at Kenyatta College. And the other one took classes at City College. And so those are both very reputable programs. And I had never heard of Wick Editor. It's free.
Oh, it's free, okay.
It's free. This one's free. And if you have a Surface or a touch screen, you can animate with your finger. So, you know, try this. I haven't tried it yet, but if you want, try that. It's another one. I'll just leave that sit there. All right, let me go back. All right, hands, please.
Thank you.
So I think this I think it's working. Just you know, listen to my notes and make another go at it, because it's not full credit. It needs some love.
Okay.
All right, Luisa, it needs some magic.
Good morning.
Okay, this is really fun. This is really great. Again, you've got just a monochromatic thing working, which is fine. You can do that. I noticed that you've got the brush working. You've got the brush. So are you planning on adding a pixie dust layer?
Yeah, probably.
Because I see that you've got the dust exploding here, and then there you've got little exploding stars. That's fine. And it looks like you haven't done the pixie dust part of this. Have you done any pixie dust?
Actually, I thought that like the brush that I chose, it looks like a pixie dust, and I made it like a little bit dense.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think that, let's play this from the top again. I think that everything is working really well. Speed, slowing down, that's great. Little magic, that's great. I think that this is fun. It's a really neat little piece. But like if we just isolate this frame right here, just consider going back in there and doing a pixie dust pass. So I'm going to use your yellow. And on this particular frame, now go in there and put your pixie dust. And for you, you may not need a lot of it. You might want to just, because you're just using a variation in style, but just a little bit, just a few little pixie dusts might be all you need. And right now, everything that you've got has kind of a faded or blurry or semi-transparent kind of look to it. And in order to contrast that, if you use just a little bit brighter of a color and a little bit more clearer of a in focus kind of look, it might be really nice on top of this. So you can see with just those few little additions how it affects your artistic value. You also might want to try, if you're working in yellow, you can try something that is analogous to it, or just a brighter yellow. But you might want to try like making the core like a hot white. So that would be my take on this. And and I think that you don't have to fix anything. You don't have to, but I think it's just adding. I think that if you went in and you tried to add just a little bit more magic, just a little bit more. And again, I just have like one or two of these open circles here. And I noticed that you've got your exploding stars that are right up here. But I don't know if you're using a blur or a transparency on them. Are you using Toon Boom or what are you using?
Toon Boom.
You're using Toon Boom. Yeah. Are you using a blur or transparency node on these guys up here?
No, I just made like they exploding and just reduced the opacity of the brush little by little.
Look at what just, and I'm not drawing too much here, right? I think that this on top of what you got will make it really nice.
Okay.
You want to take a screenshot of that?
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. So yeah, I think that you're 90% of the way there, but go that extra 10% to make everyone freak out. Your idea of an artist, even doing a simple project like this, is to make everybody freak out. Because right now everyone's like, oh, that's cool, right? But now you want people to go, whoa, how'd you do that? So if you did like the levels of critique thing, it's like, oh, that's okay. But you don't want it to be okay. You don't want it to be mediocre. It's like, oh, that's good. That's better than okay. Oh, that's really good, right? And right now you've got, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool is better than really good, but you want people to go, whoa, what was that? So go for that, whoa, what was that? Stop,
okay.
Stop everybody in their tracks. And for whatever it's worth, everybody, you should be doing that with everything you do as an artist. Everything. There's a bunch of people that I worked with that would routinely compete with each other every day. And it wasn't just animation, it was watercolor drawings, life drawings, and doing storyboard drawings just on their own. They were assistant or lead key animators, or they were art room assistants, and we were all routinely just kind of busting each other's chops. It's like, check this out, character design. It's like one of the hardest things to do, or the very hardest thing to do is a caricature of someone. Has anyone ever tried to do a caricature of somebody? You might have seen in the news that Norm Macdonald died this week. He was a comedian from Saturday Night Live. And he's mostly from kind of my generation. He was my age. Really funny, just a really, really great way of delivering. But but he's got like just a regular face. There's nothing weird like a Gilbert Godfrey, or he doesn't have any strange hair. He's just a regular looking guy. Really, really hard to do a caricature of him. My boss at Morgan Interactive, when I was working at that game company, did you take a screenshot of this yet, Louisa?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. He wanted me to try to do a caricature of Garth Brooks. And you know, he's like a country singer, and he's got like a round face. He's already a caricature of himself. I couldn't do it. There was absolutely no way I could do a caricature of Garth Brooks. I don't know, it was really hard. So yeah, so this is really good, but look, that little bit that I added just make people stop in their tracks and go, whoa, what was that? All right, do we clap for Louisa yet? Yay! All right, John.
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Still missing many things that I'm still trying to learn and figure things out by at the end of this.
All right, let me
So,
take a look.
It's
here.
still missing a lot of many things I want to imply.
Are you using Rough Animator or Toonboom?
I'm using Graph Animator.
Okay. Well, I think this is a really great first pass. I think you're a good way down the freeway here. I think the timing is good, but let me pick a good frame here. So I think that you just need to go in and do a couple other passes on this. So the first pass is, I'm going to use your blue. The first thing that I think, so what you're doing, what I'm recommending here is you don't have to fix anything, you just have to add to it.
Yeah. I'm
So the first thing that you want to add is use this brush. Use this same brush that you got. And I'm just kind of putting myself in a Rough Animator mode. Is there a brush in Rough Animator?
I don't think so.
So
This word was I actually use this word on Photoshop.
oh, really? So explain to me your process.
So I mean, like, I try to keyframe this on the. At first, I try to keyframe this on the rough animator,
Okay.
and then narrowing down the path and everything set up for and try with the dot. And then when I start to make the Pixie dust with
Okay.
the rough animator, it feels so slow and the result doesn't give me that much. So I create a copy version of the Pixie dust. No, it's just exactly the same with it's like it's synchronized with the path on the rough animator, and I import that one into the rough animator, and it's give me this result.
So then you brought it into Photoshop,
Yeah,
and you're using animation timeline in Photoshop.
no, not really. It's just the animation timeline is on the rough animator.
Okay.
But I sketch it on Photoshop, then I export it in and start to, adjusting it by keyframe.
So was that fast for you?
It's faster in by hand, like I can. It's like I'm not really getting used for on rough animator like Control Z and things.
Yeah.
So, but for the last week, I accidentally delete all of the entire layer because of I'm not getting used to this.
Okay.
So it's like it's not really that fast. I know it's very struggle way.
Okay. So let me ask you this. This is showing up as what kind of file is this? Is when you delivered this? Is it a QuickTime movie? Is this
Yeah, it's
it's a-
webcam.
it's a .mov. It's a .mov, right?
I think that it's MP4 because that
MP
was the That's
So-
what the rough animator export.
Okay, so that's fine. So a dot move, an MP4 is in the same family as QuickTime. These are called codecs. And I'm sorry, you can't read that.
Yeah, I know.
CODEC. They're all called codecs. And there's a bunch of other ones in here that all belong to the QuickTime family. And so that's fine. So this is fine. They have just different native resolutions. As long as you're in Rough Animator, make another pass. The first thing that you need to do is extend your brush bits just a little bit longer. Maybe 3 or 4 times longer. And hopefully you can do this fast. Hopefully the process of going between Rough Animator and Photoshop and back again wasn't really time consuming. But you need to make the tail of your pixie dust at least this long, if not this long. Okay.
Okay.
And so those little marks right there are your brush. They're your core. They're your glowing fog. They're just your pixie dust. Then go back in and do your the actual magic. Then put the pixie dust on top of it. And again, the randomization is a big thing here. So, and you can see that just with the few little dots that I'm drawing right now, it makes a big difference. And use the key, right? We use the small, medium, large, open circle, and then your exploding stars. 3, 4, 5-point stars. And you don't need a whole lot of these, but use your key over there because then you've got room in here to play with. So I think you've got the main thing set. It's working, but you need to just polish it. Remember that the light blue right here is the transparent dust, and then just once in a while, give yourself a little star, a little exploding star. And I think that'll make it much better. So you just have to kind of finish it right now.
Okay.
Right? All right, so take a screenshot of that.
I got it.
Got it? All right, so
Yeah.
watch what happens. I mean, that looks okay right there, right? Right? Do you agree? It looks okay? Watch what happens if I take it away. So you just have to finish it. I don't think you have to fix, nothing's wrong, you just have to finish it. Okay?
Okay.
John, and put your hands together for John, everybody. Yay! Madison.
Hello.
Okay, this is crazy good. How long did this take you?
Definitely a few hours.
Just a few hours. Okay, that's good, right? Let's watch it again. Okay, yeah, this is great. I think there's only one thing that I want you to try to adjust. Do you want to guess what it is?
The trailing dust.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't great and I was trying to fix it, but I just couldn't
No.
figure out what was the issue with it.
No, I think that what you've got is really, really good. I think that you've got a really good handle on the brush as the core. And it's like this kind of weird magic because you've got, well, we talked about the octopus last week, right?
Yeah.
And I think that you've got a really good handle on that. I don't think you have to do anything else except add a little bit. Let me go
Okay.
backwards a couple frames. So I think this is kind of cool. But what's happening, and I'm going to draw for you, and then I'm going to erase. So get ready to take a screenshot.
All right.
So what you've got is you've got this like shape right here. And the shape might be looking like an amoeba or some sort of animal, some sort of microscopic animal, right? Because you've got like this shape right here. If I were to just to extract this microorganism here, you know, you've got this kind of thing. And so this tail is always the same distance away from your core. You want to take a picture of that? Just to remind you
yeah.
that's just the beginning of this. So what you want to do then, and again, I don't think you have to do too much work to make this just completely awesome, is to give yourself a variety and random set of pixie dusts that are just trailing behind it.
Okay.
And I think that another thing that just could make this freakishly awesome is that, is that you've got room in here to go in and put those little open circles. Because I think you've got the exploding parts right. You've got everything else right, but I think that just a little bit more random quality to the end of it. And then because even right here, right? This shape right here is like, it's more geometrical. I think you just need a couple of pieces that are out and kind of just more electric, if you will.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop about right there. So maybe a couple of ones that are maybe a little heavier. And I think that's all you need. So look at just what I added right there in just the 20 seconds. Doesn't it look kind of like already look much better?
Yeah.
And watch what happens if I do this. I'm going to put one of them that's kind of living out there. That's all you need. I think that's what you need to add to it. You want to take a screenshot of that?
Yeah.
And then I think that you're golden, and everyone's going to go, whoa, what's that?
Right.
And that's exactly what everyone's going for. Whoa, what's that? Okay, can I have some hands, please, Madison? Yay! All right, it's looking good. I think you just need to give that extra little effects polish on top of it. All right, Javon.
Yes.
Okay, so that's simple enough. I don't mind that it's just really quick.
Yeah, I kind of almost rushed it a little bit.
But I think that what I want you to do is just add a couple of things to it.
Okay.
And you know what I'm going to say, right? You could just guess, because I'm always very consistent with this. And
More pixie dust.
yeah, I think that your dots here, there's a couple of things that you might want to go in and erase a couple. So what I'm going to do in order to erase is I'm going to actually use my black, because I'm just going to kind of kill a couple of these.
Right.
Because I think that they're looking just a little uniform. They're looking like you placed them too mechanically. So I think that you want to strategically erase a couple of dots on any particular frame. And you don't have to follow the dots. You don't have to follow the adjustment that you're making every single frame. You don't have to say, oh, well, this third dot here needs to go away,
Right.
in each one of them. But I think that you just want to get your erasing tool and just kill a couple of dots so that you don't have this mechanical looking thing to it. And just with that little fix, you can see that it's starting to look a little better.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to change my color. You're using primarily a lighter white color, but you know what I'm going to say, because I think that you need to get rid of this shape.
Right.
You need to get rid of this ribbon. And in order to do that, you're just going to need to have some random little magic happening out here. So the first thing would be is just to erase a couple. And then the second pass would be to give yourself a more random quality. And I think you're going to need some frames. So if your timeline right now is 3 or 4 seconds, you're probably going to need to add maybe 3 or 4 more seconds, because as this guy goes off the screen this way, these pixie dusts over here still need to fall, because I think that you're getting them to disappear a little too fast.
Okay.
All right, then I think you need to go in and do some open circles, and then you pick whether you're going to do just 5-point stars or 3-point stars. And I was looking at this thing that I think that I was just following it right from Tinkerbell, and the artists who did the pass on it used a 4-point. I'm sorry, they used a 4-point star with a hot core, and so it ended up becoming this 8-point star. You know, go in and look at the thing that I just posted on the effects a couple weeks ago in Pinterest, and you can see that they did this kind of star for her, but it was spinning. So it was spinning and falling at the same time, and so technically all you need to do is get the core working, and then you just need to get your star to fall. So I think you just need to, again, just obliterate some of the little dots, and add some that are more random, and then add the circles, and then just a couple. You don't have to overdo the 5-point, 3-point, whatever stars you're using, but you do need some of them. You also might want to try.
I think I got a couple, but I might need a few more, I think.
Yeah. I think that you want maybe a little bit more variety with the core here. Are you using Rough Animator?
I use both Toon Boom and Rough Animator.
Yeah, you can do that. Try something like this. Try to put like a hand-drawn donut on top of the core.
Okay.
And I don't think that you can use. Oh, well, yeah, you can in Rough Animator. You can make this its own layer, and then give it like a 60% opacity or something. In Toon Boom, you can just put a node on it or whatever. And you know, the one thing about Toon Boom is that you can play with that color all throughout this, but I think that you just need to give it this extra little polish. But you're most of the way there.
Okay.
It's short. Do you want to take a screenshot of that just really quickly?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I got it.
Got it? Okay. All right, so let me just take one more look at it. Yeah, I think you only need like maybe 12 more frames of that pixie dust falling at the end, but it's looking okay. It's a little short, but it's looking okay.
Okay, I'll fix it.
All right, let's take a break, everybody. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about flag animation. And it's kind of, I don't think it's even part of the syllabus, but I do it because in order to get the flag working, it affects smoke, it affects fire, just those two things. Because when they're talking about smoke and fire, you have to know how to do a flag. So it's not right here. They're talking about hierarchies and grouping or libraries or whatever. Again, I didn't write this class. I don't know who did. But what we're going to talk about is animating a flag. And so it's not there. But we're gonna talk about the logic of how you get waves moving in animation. Okay, take 15. Louisa, you can have 14-minute break. Take 15-minute break, everybody. Is that in 1985, Ronald Reagan was president of the United States, and he had no clue about how to run government. He was an actor. He was a country western actor, and he was a one-note pony. He only could act one particular type of character, and that was it. He was a terrible actor. Because in the same range as John Wayne. Very boy-oriented, misogynist, white supremacist. It's like, oh God, just forget it. Well, he ended up becoming president. He was the governor of California for a little while, and then he became president. It's like, oh God, you thought that the yellow and orange guy was bad? You know, Ronald Reagan was pretty horrible. And if you remember seeing history clips, he's the one who said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, because they were talking about tearing down the Berlin Wall. And all the European people think that he was our best president, but he was actually our worst, or second worst. In the act of him being president, he let all these other people give him advice. And one of those things was taking away money for arts and theater and drama and music in all public schools across the country, where they had meticulously installed a fair amount of money for public schools. And because he took it away, it's like now it's going to be literally impossible for anybody to put that money back in there. And so it's all about, you know, science and math, and that's fine. But for us artists, it's like, you don't have a chance to explore working in Photoshop in your freshman year in high school, in public schools, because of goddamn Ronald Reagan. So my theory is that as I become a public school teacher, is to reinforce drawing and reinforce that sense of awesome. And it's not, you know, because right here at the Academy, we are thinking career oriented. Do you want to work in a game company? Do you really want to work for Disney? You know, do you really want to work for Pixar? It's when you work for Pixar, you don't get to do whatever you want. Sometimes working for a small company is brilliant because you have the chance to say, hey, look, I want to do this one thing. And they would go, oh, that's a great idea. And the next thing you know, you could do something like me, where they allowed me to become a director, only being in animation for like 6 years. And then the next 2 or 3 years after that was really learning how to animate and do storyboards, and still working at a commercial level. But that was a nice thing. You couldn't do that at a big studio. So it's just something to consider. You might have given up drawing in middle school. You might have not, but it wasn't part of your curriculum. I'm just saying. All right, so in order to reinforce a sense of awesome, I'm going to show you a couple of things. One of the things that I wanted to do with my curriculum was just that, the sense of drawing. And the teacher, the doctor who's running this class, wants us to document our process, our processes. And we're talking about the mind, we're talking about cognition, we're talking about psychology, we're talking about building syllabus and all that. And we have to document this and put it in a book. And I was like, oh, okay, we got to make a book, you know. And I got the stuff behind me on my table there. You can kind of see it. But my younger brother just passed away from cancer about right as our semester started. Might have even been, I think it might have been on our first day of class. And, you know, I got ready to do my stuff, and I got a call from my other brother who lived in Houston with him. And it's like, okay, so that kind of sucks. He had cancer 38 years or whatever, and it was more of a relief rather than just being this tragic, sad thing. You always hear those stories about a car going off the road and it explodes, and the doctors come in and they say, well, you know, I'm sorry, it was a terrible accident, but they didn't suffer. They died instantly. Well, no, my brother was sick for 38 years. It was just horrible. Anyway, I'm gonna put a little thing in my research book that's gonna be kind of a tribute to him. He was a guitar player. Over the last 8 years or so, he couldn't play very well because the cancer was just kind of killing him. But he loved the Who. You know the Who? Anybody know the Who? Roger Daltrey, Peter Townsend, you know, loud rock and roll band. So what I was thinking is I was going to do a tribute to him, and I was going to have like him playing the guitar as a picture. I was going to do just like a little illustration. And then I got this idea. I had this thing on my YouTube channel recommended that I watch this guy doing a flip book, a pop-up book. And I'm like, oh, that might be kind of cool to have the book open up, and then my brother would be standing on top of the amp playing his flying V guitar. And so I started thinking about it. Now, how do you do a pop-up book? And so this came in the mail yesterday. This is called the Castaway Pirates. And just take a look at this flip book, this pop-up book. So it starts out by just the pirate kind of doing his little thing right there, but look at the animation, the paper engineering. So this is okay, right? You know, right now he's chasing he's in the little boat. But look at this one. It like pops up huge. Can you all see that? There, that's better, right? And then this page. Whoa. This book was $3 on Amazon. And then it cost me $4 to ship it. So I'm gonna do this. You want a sense of wow? You want a sense of special effects? This is just paper. Isn't that crazy? You know, normally families would buy these for their kids, and then their kids would just tear them apart. I don't know if you ever had any of these when you were little, but
I've definitely torn one of those apart.
yeah, exactly. This one is dinosaurs. Pretty cool, huh? Look, nothing like animation special effects in paper. Pretty cool, huh? And again, these books, you know, parents buy these books for their kids, and then the kids tear them apart. And I managed to get a hold of 2 of them that aren't destroyed. This crazy paper engineering. Isn't that crazy? All right, I thought I would share that with you. Nothing like special effects in paper. All right, so let's talk about flags. Everybody ready to talk about flags? I will, you know, usually I was just kind of thinking about this. Normally when I'm in class, I take my grade book and I walk around with it and I say, gee, here's what you got on your, on that project. Here's the points, here's the grade I applied to it. But because we don't have that security in our classroom, everyone did well, right? No one failed their pixie dust project, but I think I would rather be handing out really good grades than marginal grades or mediocre grades. And nobody's doing really mediocre, but I just want you to push it. I want you to just nail this. This class really isn't that hard. Nothing that we're going to do is really that hard. This project with the flag is can be just a little confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through like the initial steps of how you get a waveform moving. So I think I'm recording. I'm going to share my screen with you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Pinterest. Pinteresting. Isn't it Pinteresting, Javon? And I don't care if that's how you say it. My daughter always yells at me. It's like, that's not how you say it, Papa. And I'm like, shut up, Kathy. All right, so I added all these things just in the last couple days. We'll talk about glass at one point. We're going to talk about a tornado at one point. You know, this guy's kind of crazy. You know, that's kind of really cool. It'd be kind of really hard to animate. But animators might be able to figure that one out. And we're going to do water. We're going to do smoke. And here's a really interesting, simple, wonderful, stylized way of doing smoke. Just really nice. I love this. But in order to animate this, which can be done, we're going to have to animate a flag first. What did I put right here? Oh, Neil Gaiman. The best advice I can give you on this, once it's done, put it away until you can read it with new eyes. When you're ready, pick it up and read it as if you've never seen it before. Read it before. If there are things you aren't satisfied with as a reader, go and fix them as a writer. That's the revision. This is me reminding you how to critique your own work, because sometimes critiquing your own work is a very difficult thing to do. All right, so we already looked at all this stuff, right? We already seen all this. You're all invited to this board. You should be able to see that board right here. It's right in the discussion. All you have to do is click that and you're in there. All right, but I don't think I have any, excuse me, I don't think I have any flags in here. And if I do, they're down at the bottom. So let me do the old-fashioned thing here. We're going to type in 2D animation flag. And I'm going to put in drawing. I already got some coming up there, but I'm going to make it I'm going to put in drawing. All right, I'm going to switch it to images. So has anyone ever animated a flag before? Javon, you just shush. Just shush. All right, anybody else? Has anyone else animated a flag? All right, so there's a couple of things to think about. You know, this is a good drawing. It's okay. This comes to us from one of my favorite animation textbooks. That animation textbook is this one. I just dropped all my notes. Let me stop sharing my screen just for a second. This book right here, Timing for Animation. And I highly recommend this book. This is saying that it's $19 or something, but this book explains animation really, really, really well. Every page is a new project. It's really simple to understand. This book will teach you about animation, whether you're going to be a game artist or an effects animator or whatever. It's a really, really good book. Let me do this. I'm going to open up a new window here. Timing for Animation. So the book is this. It was originally written by John Hallis and Harold Whitaker. But the rights for this book were sold. It was out of print for a while, and then animators are like, hey, WTF? And Tom Cito is a very famous animator, bought the rights to it, and has put out 3rd and 4th edition. So this book here is really good. It explains a lot about animation. And I would highly recommend it, regardless of whether you're going to do games or animation, because if you're a game artist and you can animate, you're going to get picked up faster. If you're an animator, this is a great place to start. It's an excellent place to start. Obviously, animators are going to want the Richard Williams book, right? That's the Animator Survival Kit. That's this one. And this, oh, look, it's only going for $15. This is the go-to book for animators. All right, so let's go back to our flag. So this one comes from this book. It comes from the Tom Cito book, but there's a problem with this one. This explains how the nodes move. So in this one, the wind is blowing to the right. And you're following the little nodes, which are X's. So you can see this little X right here moving to the right. And as in the third drawing, which is a key drawing, it moves to the right a little more. And then look, oh, it's almost gone, and then it's gone, because in this third drawing, a second X started, and then it takes its place. On the bottom, this little node moves to the right a little bit more. And then in the fourth drawing, there's two little nodes. And it's so this is pretty good. This is a good place to understand the movement, but there's a problem. The wind is blowing. If a cloth or fabric flag is blowing like this in the wind, Louisa,
I'm here.
if the flag is blowing in the wind like this, how fast is the wind blowing? Take a guess.
Wait, what?
Fast.
I didn't hear you. Say it again. Louisa.
Oh, nothing. Pretty fast.
No, I want a number. Miles per hour. Take a guess. Janeska, take a guess. Somebody take a guess. Javon, take a guess.
I'm thinking well over 20 to 30 miles per hour.
Oh, that would be really fast. That's a little fast. I'm thinking more like
10 miles?
15.
Oh.
Let's say 15 miles an hour. So let's just stay there. Here is the thing. Can you see my mouse? Can you see my little hand? So the wind is blowing 15 miles an hour. And the corner of the flag right here is pointed upwards. Just everyone nod so I can see that you're listening. And if you're off camera, you should not be off camera. Then just put the little thumbs up so I know you're listening. Janeska, Louise.
I'm listening, sorry.
Well, wake up. Get your orange juice and wake up. I want you to put little thumbs up in your reaction window. There you go. Janeska, thumbs up. John, okay, good. Everyone's listening. All right, here's the problem. And I'm gonna be excruciatingly detailed about this because I love that book that I just showed you, the little blue one. But there's a problem with this animation in that if you're not paying attention, that even at 15 miles an hour, this corner is pointed upwards, and drawing 2, it's pointed upwards. Drawing 3 is pointed upwards. Drawing 4, it's almost pointed upwards again. And then in drawing 4, it's pointed upwards again. God damn it. How could the corner be pointed upwards for the entire cycle of the animation if the wind is blowing at 15 miles an hour? So you can get the nodes right, you can get the wave working correctly, but if you follow this one too closely, this corner of the flag is going to be stuck in 3D space. Look at this one. Whoever did this is saying, oh, they're using the same kind of approach as this one, right? Because that's the one we just looked at. But look, the wind is still blowing at 15 miles an hour, but the entire edge of the flag is stuck in 3D space? No, this is impossible. You can't do this. This is wrong. If you do this, it'll end up looking like poo. If you do this, the wave that we learn how to do in the flag here is going to help you when you're doing your smoke. You will be able to do the smoke so much easier. When we do fire, if you understand how to do this flag right here, you will understand how to do fire just that much better. So I love this. The drawings are okay, but you don't follow this one, and don't, you can look at it and study it, but just know that this little bit of the flag here, the corner is wrong. So let's just take a look at this. This is a ribbon, and this is nice. And I'm hissing like a snake because it's kind of like a snake. but this is kind of a little bit difficult to think about animating because this little curl right here would have to go all the way out to this position, and then it would have to go up on top and then come back around. So this one can be a little complicated. It can be done. You could certainly animate this long ribbon animating as a flag. If you're an animator, you might want to try this. We can talk about it next week. I would like to see this flag at least mostly done next week. This is a great one. This little flag animation here, this is great. There is a 15-mile-an-hour wind. You can see that there's a little crease in the flag that animates. This is a GIF. GIF stands for graphic interchange file format. The dude who came up with the file format was purported 2 years ago to say that it's okay to say either GIF or GIF. It doesn't care. This one has 26 frames in it. You know, I've studied this flag before. It's okay. It's a little complicated. If an animator wants to try this, it's better on your reel. But we're gonna just use a regular flag today. This one is really good. So again, we just typed in 2D animation flag drawing, and we've got this GIF. Now I've animated this before. It looks really great. Let's study this for just a moment, though. You see how there's a crease right here where my cursor is. See that little crease right there that kind of goes all the way to the end. So just follow that. It's repeating. It's good. And then just like our simple examples, there's an upper and a lower curve that belong to the flag. And as this lower curve comes out to about halfway, it becomes the crease, and the flag kind of folds over on itself. It's almost like the flag is a little bit too heavy in the wind. So the first part of the flag is being lifted up by the wind, but the end of the flag is falling. And so it causes this wonderful little crease that goes out to the end of the flag and kind of flaps the end of the corner of the flag around. See that? Everyone okay with just thinking about that idea? And then the upper arc, it goes out and it becomes the top part of that crease. So those two work in unison together. And then instead of folding over itself, well, it is folding over itself, but you can't see it because it's behind. So the animator has represented that by a little crease that's right here. And then that affects the corner of the flag. So the corner of the upper right corner of the flag is flapping in the wind. It's going up and down and up and down. The bottom right corner of the flag is flapping around. It's going up and down and up and down. All right, everyone okay with this? All right, and you can use this technique when you're animating cloth. You can use the same technique when you're animating a dog's tail. There's all kinds of places where you can use this as what's basically called waveform animation. All right, so I'm not seeing the one that's actually really good. Let me go backwards. There's one particular flag that is better than the others. This might be a GIF. No, this is not a GIF. I think I might have loaded it into the Pinterest board. I'm not sure exactly where it is there, but the one that we're going to do is similar to this. Remember that this is poo. The end of the flag could not be stuck in 3D space like this, and this would be terribly difficult to try to animate. Let me see what I've got here. 2D animation flag drawing. Let me take out the word. No, let me leave that in there. Let me take the word animation out. All right, so what we're going to do is, I like this one. Obviously, if you're going to try to put a logo or a graphic on the flag itself, you'd have to figure out how that works. And we're just going to do a regular flag. I don't want you to try to do this at all. So I'm seeing the one that doesn't work here. And I'm doing this just so that if I need to, we can come back to this. All right, so we're gonna do like a hybrid of between between this one and the one that we really liked, which was this one. So we're just going to leave this one sit there in the background. We're going to refer to this one a couple of different times. I got Harmony open. I've got it set as a flag. This is 1920 by 1080. I'm going to switch this to 720. P, remember that 720, the P means progressive, and the 24 means 24 FPS. As soon as I click this, it's going to say 1280 by 720. That is a 16:9 ratio. We're 24 frames per second. We're vertical. And I'm going to say create the shot. Remember that as a shot. We're not actually creating a scene. It's a misnomer in animation that you call your shots scenes. You should be calling them scenes. All right, so just a refresher, getting a project open in Toon Boom. This is Harmony 21. So everything is brand new, but it's still operating on basically 2017 was their main upgrade. If the drawing layer is selected when you say create a color card, the color card will be embedded in the drawing layer, and you don't want to do that. So you deselect it by clicking in the gray area, then click color card, then click the drawing. Here we can just double click on the name, and we're just going to call this the background. And I'm going to say, okay, we're going to close this. I'm going to deselect again, and we're going to make another drawing, and I'm just going to put poll. I'm going to say add and close. Vector, that's correct. Remember that in Toon Boom, ideally, you want to be working with 4 layers over here. And like I said, in week 1, week 2, I always work in the drawing mode as opposed to the camera mode, because I need to know where the edges of my screen are. But if you're doing this correctly, you should be working in the drawing layer. And so what I'm going to do is go to my preferences, and I'm going to go to the advanced tab. I'm going to click on support overlay and underlay layers, and I'm going to say okay. And then that gives me the full gambit of underlay, the color layer, the line layer, and the overlay layer. Animators, when you're going through the rest of your program, you should be drawing on the line layer in the camera mode. But for us, we're just going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to draw on the line layer in the camera mode. Your other teachers, your animation teachers, are going to want you to be in the drawing mode, but for us, we're going to be in camera so I can see where my edge is. All right. Again, pencil. This should just be somewhat of a refresher. I'm going to pick 5/5 is a good default. And remember that what you're looking for in a regular number pencil is that with a pressure sensitivity, you're trying to emulate a pencil. You're trying to emulate an actual graphite pencil. So that's good. The defaults that come out of the box here are just fine. They work pretty well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my poll. So I'm going to put the poll. I'm going to on frame 1 right here. I'm just going to draw my poll. In order to do this correctly, I'm going to just use a geometry tool, and I'm going to shift select. I'm going to realize that this is black, so I'm going to Z this out. I'm going to pick blue and a new color blue. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to just say this is my rough color. And I'm going to modulate this in the multi-wheel mode so that it looks like a regular animator's rough blue pencil. So that's good. Remember that we can always go back and change this. All right, so once again, now I'm I'm going to create the top of the flagpole with just a little geometry there. I'm going to go to the line tool, and I'm going to create a line coming from it. I'm holding the shift key down to just make it perfectly straight. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, in Toon Boom, all you have to do is like cross through things in order to select it. And I'm going to rotate this to the counterclockwise to the clockwise just a little bit, because then when I go back to my line tool and start here and hold the shift key, I'm going to get a nice variety of thickness on the pole itself. Then I'm going to pick my shift key. I'm going to select all of this. Oops, sorry. I remember you can select by just turning. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to emulate the flagpole that we saw here. You know, I like this. I like that there's a sense of drama and dynamics there. All right, so having done that, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move it just a little bit. You know, this is fine. This is good. So that's my pole. In the background, you might want to add anything. You might want to add this crow's nest or clouds or the ocean behind it. You can jazz it up however you want, but let's get to the flag. So I want a new layer. I want a new drawing layer. And let's call this flag. So this is going to be our flag layer. So add and close. And then just like always, and I've noticed this just being on ground, that a lot of your animation teachers don't use this, and I don't know why, but I always use an arc layer. So this is going to be my arc. This helps you understand how this thing is going to move. So on this arc layer, I always leave it on the top. And in the arc layer, I'm going to pick something obnoxious, like a red, so that we're not going to, remember to turn this off when you're actually rendering your shot. So arc, I'm going to leave it just as an obnoxious kind of red. And again, that's just to remind us that we need to turn this off. So there's a couple of things here on the arc layer. I'm going to zoom into this just a little bit and come up. Actually, let me come back out here. So I'm going to do two things. One of the things that's not in this example, or that is in this example, that's really nice, that's different than all of the other examples, is there's these little grommets. And I like those. They really help kind of solidify the idea that the flag is not just glued to the pole itself. So I'm just going to draw this little grommet. And I like saying grommet because of Wallace and Grommet. Grommet, it's the wrong trousers and they've gone wrong, Grommet. All right, so I'm just kind of sketching that in there right there. All right, the other thing that I'm going to do on the arc layer is give the emulation of that flag piece of fabric on the flag that is not touching the flagpole. And so that's another reason why this is a really good example here. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to put this right here. It's going to go from here. It's going to have a nice little bend to it. And it's going to go to right there. You'll hear me say in the next couple of moments that this becomes an important part of your cycle, because that arc is actually moving around just a little bit. You know, you can see it kind of thumping around right there. But for us, we're just going to use a technique in animation called a traceback. So this right here, oops, sorry. This right here is going to be called what's called a traceback, or T/B. And a traceback is that you just take this line and you do it once, you make it awesome, and then you're going to trace it back. You're going to trace it exactly the same way it is over the duration of our animation. Even though you try to get it perfect, it's still going to wiggle around a little bit. And that's exactly what you want. If you've ever watched Ed, Ed, and Eddie as a cartoon, they took the idea of Traceback to the extreme level. There's a whole bunch of examples where Traceback is used to try to emulate animation, where it's actually not animating, it's just kind of wiggling around a little bit. It adds life to the line. All right, so what we want to do here in our shot is we're going to look at this. And I see that we've got our flag just a little bit high in the shot. So what I'm going to do with the flagpole is I'm going to grab it. Oh, hold on. And I'm going to move it down a little bit. So it's about right there. Then I'm going to go to my arc layer. I'm going to reposition it. Again, just strike through it. I'm going to reposition it so it's back where it belongs. And it looks like I didn't get this guy. Okay, that's fine. On our arc layer with our pencil in the red, we're gonna do a couple of things. One is we're gonna draw a line that is perpendicular to the line that's set up from the flagpole, perpendicular, and then we're gonna kind of figure out how long we want our flag. So this is fine. This is a good flag. We're going to end about right here. All right, so this is an important step here. We're just building in the arc layer, right? We're going to end up turning this off. So then still on the arc layer, what we're going to do is we're going to plan out our flag. So let's just do 2 nodes, and I'm just going to sketch in the flag going upwards right here. Remember that when the top of the flag goes upwards, it's a piece of cloth. So that means the bottom of it has to follow with it. It would be incorrect of you to say, oh, I'm going to put an arc on the top like this and an arc like this on the bottom. This is wrong. This is wrong. You can't do this. The cloth or fabric just doesn't behave that way. If this is going to be up, then the top of the node has to be up on the bottom as well. All right, so then we're going to go to the opposite here, and we're just going to connect it to the end of the point that we just drew. And I'm just doing a little light sketching right there. All right, and then we're going to go back and we're going to look at this flag again. We're going to say, okay, I see a little S curve there. I see that there's like a little S shape in the end of the flag. We're looking at that one. Even in this example here, there's a nice compound curve. There's a nice S shape right there. You know, this flag right here is really stupid looking. And this flag animation in Flash, I don't even want to talk about it because it's mind-bendingly stupid. This one right here, look, remember what we just talked about? About the flag is a piece of cloth. So this is wrong. If the upper node is like this cannot be here. That's why this flag looks really stupid. And look at this. This flag is, the end of the flag is going up, but then the end of the flag is going down. That's why this doesn't look like a flag. That's why this looks really stupid. So don't do this. What we're looking for is the S shape. In this drawing, this is nice. It looks like a flag. There's a nice little S shape here. So let's just borrow the S shape. You know, and then that looks kind of dumb right there too. It's like, how do we fix this? Do we want to do this to it? And then evaluate it. So the top part looks good. This part looks okay. All right, so, and again, I think that there's a couple of ways to do this, but this is okay. As this upper arc right here is pushing the flag into the end of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little crease right here. All right, so this is our plan. The other plan that we're going to do is we're going to call this node just with a red dot. We're going to use this node as an open circle. We're going to use this dot as a line, and we're going to use this one as an X. Then I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to actually change colors here for just a moment. And this one is still going to be on our arc layer. So I want this one to just be, oh, hold on a second. I want this new color to be underneath it. So I'm going to drag it underneath the arc layer. Now I'm going to click on it. And this one is going to be the end. I'm going to call this the end. And you might want to make a note of this. I'm going to make this an obnoxious purple. And so right now what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, you know what? The wind is blowing at 10 miles an hour. And if this is moving around here, and we could do a couple of things. So the reason this is called an arc layer is because we're going to build in a little circle 8 right here. And we're going to put in another circle 8 on the bottom, but just a little different. Or maybe it's just going to be like this. And it could be any number of different things. But we're going to build in just a little circle 8 like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take this one and we're going to look at that one just a little closer right here. And what we're going to try to do this is we're going to try to do this in 8 drawings, and we're going to be on 2s. And so right now our tip of the flag is right here. So this is drawing number 1. And again, we're using the end right here. If we wanted to, we could call this end arc. And then this one right here is just a regular circle 8. And again, we pick this position as drawing number 1. We're going to come back to this a couple of different times because this is going to help us determine how to make sure that the tip of the flag is not stuck in 3D space. All right, we're still on the arc. I'm going to use a third arc color just so that we can see it better. And now I'm going to pick something more in the orange range. All right, so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to animate this position going into, and I'm extending this outward so you can see it. So this position here is drawing number 1, and so too is this. This imaginary arc out here is drawing number 1 as well. This right here, the top of the arc, is drawing number 1. And then the imaginary top of the arc right here is drawing number 1. Does everyone understand that? Everyone okay? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this line right here. And actually, I'm going to draw that as a dotted line because it's an imaginary line. And this is an imaginary line. And so what if we're going to try to do this in 8 drawings, so we need to divide this distance up into 8 equal spaces. So California Brown, bear with me here for just a moment. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and repeating to 1. All right, so let me number those. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, go backwards. So this same distance, put it here. This same distance, put it here. This is drawing number 8. The same distance, the same distance. This is drawing 8. This is drawing 7. This is 8, that's 7. All right, everyone okay so far? Is it making sense? If anyone has ever animated a flag before, you should already know that you can figure out how to do this without me going any further. All right, so let's talk about this. What happens then is this little node right here has to move from this position on drawing 1 on this. This is the actual arc of it over the course of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if we go back and we're just going to look at this one drawing right here. And so you can see the drawing 1, drawing 5, drawing 9, drawing 13. Those are the positions of the nodes that I just drew for you. So that's what's actually happening. That little arc is going to move. So right here, what we're going to do is we're just going to, well, we don't have to do anything. We make sure that these are equally spaced. Equally spaced means that the wind is moving at a regular pace. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on 3. And I'm going to take the opacity for 3 down as an alpha to about halfway or so. And I'm going to double click on the arc itself. And I'm going to take the opacity on the arc down just a little bit. All right, about there. And I'm going to double click on the end. And I'm going to take the opacity, the alpha down on it just a little bit. All right. And now that we're in the end color, what we're going to do is we're going to think about what happens to the end of this flag in our close-up view here. We can just think about this right now. This top of the arc is going to come out and become the end of this flag. This is going to, the corner of the flag is going to be moving. So we can choose to go a number, either counterclockwise or clockwise to start with. I'm going to pick clockwise. So right now, this is drawing number 1. And again, I think that if I tried to do it right here, you wouldn't be able to see it. So we got to divide the corner arc up into 8 equal spaces here. And I'm just going to do it right out here away from the animation and right here away from the animation, just so you can see it. All right, so I'm going to go down. So this is drawing 1, and I'm going to start doing this very lightly so that I don't have to erase. 2, 3, 4, 5 is in the same position. 6, 7, and 8. So now I'm going to draw the numbers. This is drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be in the same position. So we'll just use 1 and 5 being in the same position. This is 6, 7, and 8 over here. All right, so now pay attention. If you screw this up, this will look weird. If you screw this up, it'll look weird and it might be okay anyway. But we're going to start here and we're going to say, oh, the top of the flag went downwards counterclockwise. So let's go counterclockwise this way as well. So we're going to put drawing 2, and I'm just going to draw this first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's our motion. That's our guide. You know, you could call it arc or guide. That's fine. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. So that's all we've got. We've just got our flagpole right now. Well, we got our plan. We've got our plan. Now we can kind of figure out how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our flag layer and we're going to copy this line right here. So we're going to just do it in the rough color first. And, you know, I'm looking at this, the red arc layer that we have right here is actually a little bright. So I'm going to put even a more alpha on it. And on the end layer, I'm going to just give it an extra little alpha as well. Because it's there, I can see it, I understand it, I drew it, I know what I'm doing. But I just want it to be my guide. I don't want it to like be totally in my face. So even more, I'm going to take this arc layer and give it even more of an alpha In Rough Animator, you can do the same thing. It's just the opacity. All right, so now we're ready. So on the rough layer with a rough color on the flag, what I'm going to do is I want to draw this. And I don't think we've talked about this yet, but this is one of the hardest angles to draw for a right-hander because it's against your arc. So I'm going to hit the Control and Command key. I have to be in this mode. Hold on a second, what's wrong? I have to be in the drawing palette, and I hit the Control and the Option and Command key to flip my drawing over. So that is Option and Command. We haven't talked about that yet. All right, so now this is much easier of a line to draw for me. Again, let's just make sure I'm in the pencil mode. The keyboard shortcut for that is like Command question mark or something like that. I'm in 5. We're gonna do this rough at first. So I'm gonna draw this line. Oops, I don't like that. I'm gonna do it again. All right, so one thing that's kind of bugging me is that I used the rough color here to do this flagpole. And what I'm just realizing now is that I'm going to rename this rough color. So I'm going to rename this rough color pole because we use it for the pole and I want to be consistent. So if I want to, I can save that pole as my final pole and I'm going to make a new rough color. So the new rough color is going to be just a little darker and I'm going to call this the rough color. All right, so now I can draw my line. I'm going to erase the first little lines right here. All right. All right, that's good. Okay, sometimes, especially with this flag drawing here, you might want to look at this line and say, you know what? We're gonna, the center line smoothing here is set at 5.6. Let's decrease this up here to like 40 and watch what happens. See what happens? Let me do that again. I'm gonna take it up to 47. And I'm just gonna draw a scrappy little line. Look what happened. Toon Boom fixed it because it's a vector application. So let's try to draw a perfect line. Oh, look at that. That's really nice. I don't think you can do this in Rough Animator. So let's just redo this line with this setting, this 40 setting. No, that looks okay. I'm going to do it again. That looks better. Okay. Now what I want is I'm going to go out here on 2. So I'm going to use my greater than sign on the keyboard to go out 2 frames. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong layer. Hold on. Oh, stupid thing. Hold on. So I'm on the flag layer. I'm going to go use my greater than sign to go out 2 frames. I'm going to hit, I don't know where I am. So I'm going to take my pole layer 8. 8 drawings on 2s is 16 frames. So I'm going to take my pole and I'm going to hit go out to frame 16 on the pole layer and hit F5. I'm going to take the duration of my shot all the way down to frame 16. I'm going to go to the arc layer and hit F5. So now everything's back. So we're only dealing with a 16 frame cycle here. That's all we're doing. 16 frame cycle. Everyone okay? And I know I'm being really didactic about this, but that's okay. We don't need our onion skin for real, but I am going to turn it on because I want to know where this drawing was that we just drew. And you use my greater than sign to go out 2 frames. And then I'm just going to pencil. Okay. The idea is to draw it as closely in the same place as you can. 2 frames out, And again, 2 frames out. Now, here's the thing to think about, everybody. If you have this setting bumped up really high, and Toon Boom is fixing the vectors on this line so much that it may not give too much motion. You'll have to see. You'll have to do your own settings. Play with this. We'll see what this looks like in just a moment. Oops, I don't like that. It may not move as much as I want it to. I might have to redo this. We'll check it in just a moment. 2 frames out. And remember, when you do it this way with the greater than sign on the keyboard, it fills in those missing frames, that missing frame. And again, this is a traceback. So now we're going to just touch this and hit the plus key on the keyboard to extend it by 1 frame. We're going to turn our arc layer off. We're going to turn the, oh, that's fine. And we're going to play it. We're going to save our project. And I just hit save, it didn't do anything. And we're going to play it. Loop it, play it. That's okay motion. That's okay. If I hit this window here and hit Shift M, that looks okay. So let's bring our arc layer back. That looks okay. That's working. On the flag layer now, it's all set for keys. So let us do our first drawing. In order to do our first drawing on the flag layer, this is a really hard arc for me to draw. So I'm going to hit the Option and Command button, and I'm just going to turn it so this is a better arc to draw. I don't like that. Z it. Here we go. Let's draw this one. All right, I'm going to flip it over. There's other ways to do this. You could draw it more freehand, but this is actually a bit easier to draw. So now I'm just going to draw this arc. All right, there we go. I would consider this Shift M. So now I would consider this to be clean enough that I could paint. There's a little hair right here. If I zoom in, I can see there's a little hair right there. I could clean that up. There's another little hair right there. If you hit the K on the keyboard, it shows you your vectors. If you use the direct select tool, you can take these and move them. And you can clean it up just manually. There's a whole bunch of really cool things you can do just there. So what I'm going to do maybe is I actually want to think that this flag layer is that's my final flag layer. So I'm going to make a new layer just underneath this to do a rough layer. So this is actually going to be my rough, and I'm going to say add and close. For this color here, I'm going to change this to clean. And remember, going back and forth like this is fine. You are perfectly allowed to kind of change direction and think about what you're doing as you're doing it. So I'm going to make a new color. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to call it rough. And remember, we've already called 3 different colors rough. So just make sure that the color you're making matches the layer that you're in. And that the color here is going to be just a little different than what you would consider your clean color, so that you know what you're doing. All right, so what I can do on my arc layer, with this, the K key again gets rid of your vectors. Again, you can see it, like all the drawings that we did. Like, now my computer's freaking out here, hold on. That shows you all the vectors of the stuff on the arc. So with this rough color here, I can give myself just a little reminder of where these positions are. on the top and bottom. This one here should be more here. All right, this will all make sense to you here in just a moment. All right, so now that's on the arc layer. Now I'm going to draw the rough, and I just want to rough out my flag really fast, like as fast as I can do it. So the first thing I'm going to do on the rough layer, I'm just going to turn this. I'm going to take this little node and I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to go out 2 frames, and I'm on frame 3 now. Oh, hold on a second. I made a mistake. Hold on. I'm on frame number 1, so this node is right here. I'm going to go out 2 frames. This is my second drawing, which is frame 3. And if I need to, I could change these to match. So what might make sense on your arc layer now with a black color is to change these numbers to 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. We've got this bumped up too high. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. 9, 11, 13, 13, 13. Oh my God. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. I'm wanting to make sure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I don't know. This 13 position here on the arc layer is in a funky position. So I think I was just talking too much while I was drawing. So we're going to call 13 here. So you got to remember that that's 13. And then this is 15, which gives you a total of 16 drawings. So this is incorrect here. And this one's a little incorrect too. It's got to end on this position. All right. With my rough color, I'm just gonna on the arc layer, I'm just gonna make a little note. So this is going to be here on drawing number 1, and then 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15 is at the end, and go backwards. All right, good. So on the rough layer right here, I'm going to turn this so that this arc right here is going out to position 3. All right, so this is the tricky part. So just draw this arc right here. Just draw this on drawing number 3. So actually, let's, hold on. Shift M, black, 3, 5, 7, 9, 9, 11, 13, and 15 is here. And then go backwards. This is 15, this is 15, this is 13, this is 13. Okay, so now, sorry, back to the rough, turn this around. So in the rough color with your pencil, all I want to do is I want to get this position here. I want to start at this crest, at the arc, and just draw the top. On 3, it's got to be right here. And I'm just drawing the arc. Just those 2 things. I'm going to go 2 frames out. And now I'm drawing number 5, drawing number 5. So 5 is here. So start and go backwards and make sure that the top of the arc is moving on the arc line right here, and that it goes below the bottom of the drawing you just did before. 2 frames out. Now we're on drawing number 7. That's right here. So start there and just draw this part of the arc first. 7, it's right here. So draw this part of the arc first. Go 2 frames out. 9, start here, draw this part first. 9, it's here. Draw this part first. Make sure that this goes below the line that you're just working on. And remember, I have it rotated, so this is below. That direction there is below. 2 frames out. We're on drawing number 11 and go 2 frame, just get the arc to go this way. Frame number 11, you're just sketching. All right, frame number 13, 2 frames out. Frame number 13 is right here. All right, and then don't go so far, you're almost at the end, so just do that. Frame 13, you're here. What matters is this distance right here, the distance between this little line and that line. Frame 15, go 2 frames out. Frame 15, just draw a little bit to set the key. And again, on frame 15 here, you're just going to draw a little bit just to set the key. And then go here and hit the plus key on your keyboard to set it. All right, so let's hit Shift M. I have to be in this mode, Shift M. All right, let's see what it looks like just so that we can see that little thing moving. All right, that's working. So now let's do the bottom. So we're gonna rotate our screen again. And so now this is our rough here. We are on frame number 1. So this is our frame number 1. I'm wondering if I made a mistake here. Hold on a second. All right, I think we're okay. All right, and this should all make sense to you in just a moment. All right, so on frame number 3, what we're doing is we're going to see that this is our rough line for drawing number 1. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm drawing this blue line here. This is drawing number 1, and so that we're going to just imagine that this little node has to move that far out. So I'm just going to draw this, and I'm going to connect it to the drawing on drawing number 3 that we've got. And I'm not going to do the end yet. So again, this is the node for drawing number 1. So I'm going to make it go to the right just a little bit, and then I'm going to connect it here. And I'm going to do that for each one of my roughs. So now I'm going to go, now that these keys here are set, now I can use the G key to go out in time. The red is now my indicator. So now I'm going to draw this node going out here, and I'm just going to sketch it because I'm going to do the end in a minute. So I'm going to connect those 2 together. So this node right here is going to go out a little bit, and I'm just going to connect it to this point right here. Those 2 lines have to cross over. Let's just keep going here. So now I'm on frame number 7, and this node is going to be out here. So I'm just going to connect this. I'm just going to draw this so it looks correct. I'm going to draw this so that it's moving correct. And the end is going to move on these arcs here in just a moment. Okay, so now we're connecting here. This is our rough layer. One more, and now we're kind of stuck. Now we're nothing to draw right there. So let's go back to our first frame. Let's go here and do the drawing that goes backwards. So now we're going to go to the next frame out. This is my blue line on frame number 3, and I'm just going to very carefully connect it to the grommet. So I'm going to very carefully just connect it to the grommet. All right, so then this one becomes important here because as this upper node goes out, it's going to become a lower node in just a moment. So we have to start thinking about that a lower node connecting here. So I'm just gonna, that's why we're doing this on the rough layer. G key out. Now we're on frame number 7, and this has to move forward. So this arc here, it's like this has to move out a little bit, and now it has to connect. So this is becoming the lower node. So this lower node right here has to move out. Now it's here, and now it's going to connect to the grommet. Go. So 2 frames out. This is where our lower node is now. We're on frame number 9. And so this is the node right here. It has to move out to about this position. And this is the lower node here. So it has to move out to about right there. And eventually it's going to do the same thing. Eventually that lower node is going to become an upper node. So now it was here, now it's there. And so even at this early stage on frame number 11, we can start to get the upper node to come back again. It's a wave. The what's actually happening here is that you've got a ball that's moving across the space. And as this node is moving, it's just going like this. And the node is moving. You're drawing these arcs that are overlapping each other like this. And as soon as we get to like this position right here, it starts to become a lower node. And as soon as this position becomes here, it starts to become the upper node again, because there's not just one circular form moving, they're all overlapping on each other. And you can see, if you can understand how this thing moves up in 8 frames, then it's going to start again, but it doesn't start again on frame number 1, it brings it with it. So the way the cycle works is that somewhere about a third or about a half of the way through here, even though this is an outer curve like this, and which goes up to here, these two connect to each other, a new node comes underneath it. So hopefully that makes some sort of sense. So on this rough layer right here, we're gonna go 2 frames out, and we're gonna see this node is moving here. So connect this, and then now you've got the upper node starting again. This is where it was, this is where it's gonna be now. And now I've got an upper node starting back again, because there's only 8 drawings here. Now this is our last frame in the cycle. So now we just got this frame here. So all we need to do is get this one. Now look, see, this is our arc. This light color is our arc. So if we get this node right here to come anywhere even close to it, it'll animate correctly. So I'm just doing like an in-between right there. All right, so now what I'm looking at is I'm gonna hit Shift M to return. I'm gonna hit play. And we can see that the wave is working. I know I went really fast right there, but we are recording and you can go back and look at it. So that is working. Again, what's happening is that you wanna pay attention to these little numbers on your node to make sure that what you're thinking of is that this little upper node right here is animating from drawing number 1 all the way out to what this would be drawing number 1 out here. And that then as it goes to about this position here, as it goes to about 9 position here, it's going to start again. That now we have a new upper node coming in, because if on our arc layer we were going to go backwards, we could say, hey, you know how we drew this? Well, it's this way too. It's actually this way too. So this ball that we're drawing is actually really big, and it's moving from this position on drawing 1, which is this drawing 1, all the way over to this position. And this big circle here on drawing number 1 is moving all the way out to here. Does that make sense? And then it's over here too. Then there's another one like way over here. So this is drawing number 1. And there's another one here. This is drawing number 1. That's the way to think about this wave moving, is that this giant ball is moving from this position on drawing 1 to this position again, and you're just animating. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could animate this ball moving and say copy and paste it, moving along this arc that we drew. You know what I mean? You could just take this ball and copy and paste it on this arc, moving just this far, and then just draw the very top of the arc. And then just draw this part of the arc right there, because that's all this is. That's why it's working. Hopefully that might make a little sense, right? And remember, I drew this on the arc layer so that I can just turn that off, right? All right, so now let's talk about the end. Let's talk about the end of our flag here. We're gonna pick the rough color that we're using. We're using the pencil tool. I always have to double check. this rough color that we used, I'm going to go to the rough layer, and this rough, I'm going to kill the opacity on it just even a little bit more. Yeah, that's good right there. So I'm going to zoom in. Oops. All right, I'm going to zoom into the end of this right here. I want to see all of this. And with my rough end of the flag right here, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. And a little bit more. Okay, good. So with my rough color, I'm going to figure out the position of the corner of the flag for the top and the bottom going forward. So frame 1 is already done. We're on the rough layer. I'm going to go G key to the next keyframe. So 2 position is right here. I'm just going to put a little dot. It's a rough. I'm going to put on this one, the 2 position is right there. I'm going to put a little dot. I'm going to kill the smoothing here for just a moment. I'm going to bring it down to 5 again. 5/5 is a typical pencil because it was manipulating my vector too much. Okay, out to the next frame, G key, frame number 3. The corner of the flag is about right there, and frame number 3, the corner of the flag is about right there. All right, and now I'm on frame number 7. 7 position is, I'm sorry, I should have changed these numbers too. Let's just do that really quickly. 1, 5, I'm sorry, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Same thing on the bottom one. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I'm sorry. Oh no. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Hold for 2 is 16 frames. Rough layer, rough color, pencil. The dots are in the right place. 1, 3 is already done. 5 is already, oops, I went too far, hold on. We're on frame number 5. 5 is here, 5 is here. Next one is frame 7. I'm double checking. Frame 7 is right here. We're going to put the little dot. Frame 7 is right here. And by the way, this is a good thing. Having this arc oriented this way and this one this way is a really good thing. All right, so now we're on frame number, oops, I went backwards. Now we're on frame number 9. Frame 9 is right where frame 1 was. And we're just putting a little dot right where the corner of the flag is going to be. Now we're on frame number 11. 11 is right here on the arc. 11 here is going the other way, which is a good thing. By the way, it's okay to draw this shape of the arc small. So if you're going to draw like the arc for the tip of the flag this way, and then this one you were going to draw really big, that would be okay too. This variety is nice. I'm just going to do it straight away. Okay, so we're on frame number 11. Frame number 11 is right here on the arc. Right here and right. Okay, that one's done. G key out. Now we're on frame number 13. 13 is here. And frame number 13 is here. And the last key position is frame number 15. 15 is right here. And 15 on this example is right there. All right, so now let's just turn our arc off. And we got those little dots. Let's see what the dots look like. So they look okay. They look like they're moving correctly. All right. Everyone okay? Questions, comments, complaints, conundrums, criticisms? we only have one more thing to do really, and that is to draw the tip of the flag itself, the edge of the flag itself. So on this rough layer, our rough for drawing number 1 is already done. These nodes right here don't really move up and down. You just have to pick you have to be artistic about this. You have to say, what is going on here? In this example here, this flag end is flipping over. It's turning over and we can see the underside of it right there. But for us, let's just see what happens. We're gonna take our arc layer and we could put a node on the arc layer to just kill the opacity. So let's do that. Let's put a, so again, Command A, select everything, and then just get everything to be blown apart. Space bar. We want our arc layer here to have a node on it. So we're just going to put a transparency node on the arc layer. And we're going to go back to the color, back to the timeline. We're going to take our transparency. And remember, it starts in the middle. So right there is actually pretty good. We're just going to leave that alone. It starts at 50% transparent. 100% transparent is invisible. All right, so so what we're going to do is we're going to close this. We're going to go back to our rough layer. We're going to go to the next key, and we're going to connect this first. Oh, let's just make sure we're doing this right. Rough color pencil. We're going to connect this line to the end, and you can do this on each one of your drawings. So you can adjust this first and just make sure the connecting points are in the right place, just to get that right. And we're really close. You know, all we have to do is kind of just connect them. This one has to be adjusted a little bit. So we're just gonna, let's get some smoothing back in here. We're just going to connect those. I only have a couple more to do. That one's already there. This one's pointed in the right place. That one's pointed in the right place. This one's not. This one has to be tweaked a little bit. So we're going to fix this, and then we're going to erase it. We're just going to kind of kill this because even though it's on our rough, we don't want to see it very much. Go back to the pencil and Shift M. And let's just play this to make sure that the dots and the corner of the flag are in the right place. I think it's working okay. We've got 95% of our flag done. So right now our drawing number 1 is already there. Let's go to the second drawing, and what's happening? It's going downward. So let's just keep this same shape. This is where this shape used to be. If I draw it like this, it should be okay. Let's go to the next drawing, just the G key. Now it's going down. So let's just start here. So now we've got a little waveform happening here. And let's just see what happens if we make this one unified arc like this. And let's go backwards a frame and let's fix that a little bit. So on this one, we're just going to trim off a little bit of what we did right there. We're going to actually erase this part. We're going to go back to our pencil. And now we're on frame 5. We already did frame 5. Frame 7. So we're going here. The red is where we used to be. And we can keep this as a simple arc right here. But remember, we got to start making this an S shape here in just a moment. So here, this is a good place to do the S. Right here, and then start the S shape. Now this is frame 9, which is right in the middle of our arc. And if you look at our arc here, frame 1 and frame 9 are right on top of each other. So borrowing this shape right here it's fine. And it looks like a flag. It's fine. It will be fine. You have to trust it. This one, the node is right here and right here. So let's just keep it an S shape. And I know that this drawing might be a little tricky, but you're coming from the red position. So the way to draw this is just get it like that. This one, these two lines, if these two lines are right on top of each other, the apparent motion will stop. So just get them to cross over a little bit and then come back out to here. And now we got one more drawing to do, and that's coming. Now we're just doing an in between the red line and the salmon colored line. That is our drawing number 1 from the arc. And so we're just gonna, these are in a kind of a funky place right here, but that's okay. Just kind of think about it, get these two lines. This is your rough layer anyway. Get those connected. All right, so we got our flag. Let's save this. Let's turn our arc layer off. And then let's just kind of go through this. Let's turn the node off. So these guys have to go away. I think that I drew these on the flag layer, but I was just talking and thinking at the same time. So let's just use our G key to see what the animation looks like. Slowly. I think it looks okay. This frame right here is funky. It's okay, let's play it. Okay, so this is a really good start. This gets you most of the way through it. One thing that you can kind of do here is when this is all roughed in on your rough layer here, you can go, we're going backwards. Now we're going to go forwards on this frame right here. This is our rough color. We're going to make a new rough color. This is going to be R2, rough 2. And we're going to give this one maybe just a little lighter, a little brighter. We want to be able to see it. It still has to be blue, because my imagination here is that as we go through this flag, that this wants to flip over right here. So against the thing of our arc here, what my imagination is telling me is that instead of going 1, 3, 5, let's see what happens if we, oh, I'm in the erasing tool. That if we get something like this to happen, so that there's actually a little flip over right here between drawings number 5 and 7. So if we put 5 here and then 7 out here instead of here, we can get it to flip over. So on drawing number 7, and if we can get this to flip over, now there's a trick to this part of it. One, and pay attention, the edge of the flag is fabric, so it can't get too squash and stretchy. We can't make it longer or shorter. And if we do this, if we want to flip this over right here on frame number 7, then we show the back side of it. So let's just color that. And if we do that, we have to do it for at least 2 frames. So for this one, oh, I'm sorry, I went too far. So this is frame 7 on the rough layer, and I have a feeling that I did that on the wrong layer. Hold on. Oh no, we're okay. You have to do, if you're going to do a change like that, then you have to do it for at least 2 frames. So we're manipulating now frame number 9, and 9 is right in the middle. So we're going to bring 9 over to here. And this rough R2 color that we're using, oh, I'm in the wrong color. You have to do it for at least a couple of frames in a row. So now we're just going to kind of cheat this a little bit. And now we're back to where it should be. Let's go back to this one. Let's turn our onion skin on, and we can kind of see that the green is coming up and the red was before. Let's, oops. So yeah, I think we just need to, this is frame number 11, which is right up, and we can tweak this one just a little bit too. We can bring this one down just a little bit. And let's go backwards a drawing. This one is, so we're trying to get this flip over thing working just to make it a little more interesting. Frame number 5, 7, we fixed this a little bit. 9, we're fixing it just a little bit. And 11, we fixed it a little bit. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Save this. And remember, we did that all in the rough layer, so we can just tweak it however we want. And it looks like I might have drawn that drawing on the arc layer. So you can see the flip right there. So that's a nice little fix right there. Let's look at our fix just in real time. I mean, in animation flipping. So, oh, I turned the rough layer off, hold on. I want to turn the arc off, and I want to just look and see what this looks like. I'm gonna use my G key. I want to turn the onion skin off. All right, so the blue is working. Our main rough color here was working. And we're just adding a little flip over. 3 different drawings right there, just to get a little effect to it. Now, when I clean this up here, I don't want to introduce another lower node right here. So more than likely, the best fix right here with this R2 color would be is to just kind of tie these two together and to think about the overall look of the flag. There's an upper arc here, so I want to copy that. And I want a nice little rollover. It's fabric, and so I want to make sure that it looks like a flag. Don't think of it as just lines. It has to look like a flag. Go to the next key, and this one's fine. So just kind of maybe just have a little bit of a underside right there, just a little bit of a rollover. Go backwards, color this in. This is just the back side of the flag. Forwards, so there's really just 2 drawings where we see the back side. Oh, there's 3 where we see the back side of the flag right there. All right, so let's see what that looks like as we play it. All right, so that looks okay. That looks okay. And then my next thing would just be to go on the actual flag layer and use the clean color with my pencil tool, and reminding yourself that you want to bump the smoothing up to somewhere in the 40s so that it fixes the line in more of a graphic fashion. Because what we were doing right here, we were just thinking with our pencil, but now we want to clean it up. When you're cleaning it up, if you keep these lines closed, if the lines touch each other, then you can paint it. Then you can go back in and just give it a solid color. Oh, one thing that we didn't talk about, thanks for reminding me, is that we didn't talk about the crease. So if we turn our arc layer back on, we talk about this crease right here. So on drawing on the rough layer, let's just do this super fast. So we're just going to do this guy right here, and we're going to give like a little arc right here. And then we're going to go to the next keyframe, and we're going to draw it out here. It moves just about that same little ½ inch. We're going to go to the next keyframe. It's going to move about here. Next keyframe. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I think I might have done something wrong. Yeah, that one's not working correctly. Hold on. I'm going to turn my onion skin back on. All right, so on this frame right here, blue, blue. All right, this one, we put it here, and it's going to go away. As it gets towards the tip of the flag, it gets smaller. So on the next drawing here, just give tiny little crease, just a tiny little crease. And then the next keyframe, it's gone. But then on this keyframe, we can start to see it coming back right here. So it's got to be starting. So what we're going to do on this keyframe is we're just going to draw a little bit of a crease right here. We're going to draw a little bit of a crease right here, just a little bit. On this one, we're going to draw just a little bit of a crease. And then when it comes back to our first drawing, it'll be there. So I think it's probably too much of a jump. So on this drawing right here, we can see that this is where it came from. So on this position, it should be more right here. And then if we go backwards, oh, I'm sorry. If we go backwards, it should be more here. And we can take this one away. And then going backwards, it should be about here. And so this is wrong. This little position here is wrong. And we can probably leave it right there. So let's look at that little crease. So that's how you get the little crease to animate. Remember, you're only doing 8 drawings, but it's tricky because you've got nodes and arcs on the top. You've got nodes and arcs on the bottom. You've got a circle 8 happening for the top and a circle 8 happening for the bottom. Just to conclude this, I think that looking at this, I might go back in and change this, because what I'm gonna do, let's just look at this for just one moment. The tip of this flag right here it's a sharp point, right? You see that? And so let's play this on our rough layer just with our G key. So right now the flag, the tip of the flag on just the top is at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the arc right here. And if we just keep going, we can see that the arc, the very tip of the flag is always a sharp point. So what I want to do about right here is go, that's okay. It's going down. It's allowed to be a sharp point. But as it's going through position 7, 9, and 11, and maybe even 13, on this rough layer, we're gonna manipulate this. So this is going to become flatter. Even though we have this as our arc, we're going to tweak this just a little bit. And I'm going to say, you know what? It's going to flip over. So we're just going to take this and we're going to make it look like a regular flag right here on this layer. Let's go back and let's kind of trim this down just a little bit, because it's flipping over, because it did on the bottom. It flipped over on the bottom. And so at least on this drawing, that drawing, this drawing, yeah, we got to kill this. We got to kill that little sharp point right there. Look, it's already pointed down here anyway. And so on this one, I think this one will be okay. We'll leave that one there. So just on that little tweak right there, look at how much different it looks. Let's on this rough layer, let's clean this up. Let's erase just this right here so we don't see it so much. And on the next one, let's erase this just so we don't see it so much. And on the next one, this one too. All right, so let's take a look at it now. All right, you see how much better it looks? It's like the tip is not pointing upwards the whole time. It looks a lot better with the crease, the rollover on the bottom, and the little tweak we just did on the top. All right, so again, getting this working like this will help you do your smoke. It'll help you do your fire. And so go back and make sure that you get this thing working correctly because then it'll help you. The smoke becomes a very big thing with the volcano. The fire it can be in the volcano. You don't technically need to do a drawing for this one, like I did here. You don't technically need to do this flag drawing. This actual drawing is a little complicated because it's got upper, lower, and upper. And it would just be the same technique. It would be the same, and I put that in the, where did I put that? I put it in the invitation for today's, I forget where I put it. So, and I would like to see this next week. So you've got a bunch of things to do. Some of you have tweaks to do on your pixie dust, which should just take an hour. And then this flag, I know it's kind of maybe the hardest thing to think about because you've never done anything like this before, but give it a big go. Make sure you understand those principles correctly. And I would like to see this flag next week. It shouldn't take 2 weeks to do a flag. Just one, it's only 8 drawings in 1 week. So go back and look at the video. I'll post it on YouTube this afternoon. Make sure that it's clean and that at any point you can paint it. But in order to paint it, those shapes have to be closed. Okay, sorry I went too fast. But I'll put the recording up on YouTube and it'll be available for you in a couple of hours. All right, everybody okay?
I think
All right.
so.
Okay, I will see you next week, everybody.
Thank you.
If you're tweaking your pixie dust, you can put it in the late missing redo extra credit folder. And again, everyone did really well. You're all doing fabulous. Just make it like you want to blow people's minds away. The whole point of what you're doing in special effects is to make it, oh my God, that was so cool. How did you do that? And you're going to go, I'm not going to tell you. Because I want to be the special effects animator, not you. All right, that's good for today. Sorry, I kept you over a little bit. We will see you next week. And remember, again, I'm sorry, the Academy's Zoom thing just shuts down sometimes. And again, even at the last minute next week, I might have to do the same thing. You know, and it's like this big, huge anxiety on my part, but at least we're all here today. All right, I'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Email me at Yahoo if you have any questions. Okay, see you everybody.
See ya.
Okay, bye.